Hi everyone, this is Tisch Aitken, and we just had our last full moon of the decade. We had it on 12/12/2019 at 12:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it was at 19 degrees and 51 minutes of Gemini. And this is the final full moon of the year and of the decade, and it was in the sign of Gemini, which is very different from the majority of what we're feeling now and the story we're proceeding with, because it's a mutable air sign. It's very much about communication and getting into different things, and it can be a little bit scattered. And right now, actually, the time that we have ahead of us is about being very structured, being very grounded, and anything but scattered. And so this full moon marked the beginning of eclipse season, because we have two eclipses coming up. We have a partial solar eclipse on December 26th, so that's going to take place at 12:13 a.m. at 4 degrees of Capricorn. And that's going to be a south node eclipse. It's right by the holidays. So there's going to be a lot of ending and release and letting go. And we have another eclipse on January 10th. And I'm going to talk a lot more about the eclipses, but they in and of themselves mark a time of major changes, major beginnings, and endings can happen in a very rapid and unexpected manner. They are wild cards. Whatever you think they're going to be, it'll be something else, but it's a lot of movement and action and pressured energy. So, but with all of that said, yesterday we had Venus join up with Saturn in Capricorn. And, Venus is currently in the sign of Capricorn, where it's maybe not the most fun placement, but it's grounded and such. But it's meeting up with the malefics that are going to join up together. So Venus met up with Saturn yesterday on the day of the full moon, or right before, and that's kind of sobering reality around what you value, around your finances, around things that are important to you. And Saturn and Pluto are currently only 2 degrees away in the sky, and they are going to meet up on January 12th at 22 degrees of Capricorn. So Venus is right now giving us a preview of that story in a sense, because, says my cat, but we have, Venus is just now juxtaposed right between Saturn, which is restrictions and limitations, as well as reality, giving us all a glimpse of what we need to harness in this, coming year and this coming decade. But it's also a degree away from Pluto. It's going to meet up with Pluto tomorrow. And that's about transformation and about release, major endings. This is a big deal because, we've got several planets in Capricorn right now. Venus will be in Capricorn. I think it's going to be, I should be in Aquarius, I think, by the time of the solar eclipse, although right now I'm a bit scattered, unlike the Capricorn story. But basically we have Jupiter just entered Capricorn on December 2nd. That is a new 12-year cycle about how you expand, and it's going to be expanding through knowing your limits. And it's also expanding this whole Capricorn narrative about getting regimented, about getting structured, about what is working and what is not working, and really, trying to heed the lessons that come up, because Saturn and Capricorn both give very karmic lessons. And if you work hard, it rewards you. It just takes a lot of time. And Pluto takes 248 years to transit. So it moves very slowly. And the fact that it's meeting up with Capricorn with Saturn, that's a conjunction that hasn't happened in over 500 years. That is a really big deal. And the two of them have not met up together in the sky since 1982. They were in Libra at that time. So, that's also not very frequent. And this is really a time of renovation, of definitely of big endings and shifts and change. And that is prevalent. And so Jupiter is expanding the narrative. It's going to be in Capricorn until December 19th of next year. Saturn and Pluto meet up on the 12th. We've got eclipses on December 26th at 4 degrees of Capricorn, a south node eclipse of release. And then we've got a full moon eclipse, a lunar eclipse on January 10th, 2 days before that historical Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And that eclipse will be at 20 degrees of Cancer. And that defers back to April when Saturn stationed retrograde at 20 degrees of Cancer and Pluto got to as far as 23 degrees. But what was going on in April, and you think of that time that, and I've, metaphorically, that's when well, not metaphorically, but literally Notre Dame had that fire and part of the structure came down. But in a sense, it serves as a metaphor for this time ahead of us, that old structures, old ways of thinking, old institutions, anything in our life that's something like that. There are things that are collapsing, big structures are collapsing, big changes happening, maybe big renovation needs to be done, restructuring, but also building on things that you've already built. It may just be time to add new paint or new things to it, whatever it is in your life. Bad metaphor, but anyway, it's the point is that it's really about figuring out what your goals are. It's very action oriented. We begin the year with only Uranus is retrograde in Taurus. So all the other planets are direct. Last year, none of the planets were retrograde, so it was really forward momentum. But we have several planets in cardinal signs, most of which are in Capricorn right now. And this is a time of moving ahead. And this full moon started eclipse season. So it's going to be a pressured time, very busy, a lot going on. I will do, I think, one more video definitely about the eclipse coming up on December 26th. I wish you all a lot of luck. This is a time, I think Venus is showing us this week, between conjoining with Saturn yesterday on the full moon and joining up with Pluto on tomorrow, about choices you need to make, decisions you need to make, what you need to release and let go. And that full moon energy is still looming, although it's now in the sign of Cancer. So what you want to let go in order to make space for the new structures in your life, or what you need to restructure, so you're making space for that too. And the other thing too is that Jupiter is going to be trining Uranus on Sunday, and that's a really fun aspect. It's very it can bring unexpected opportunity and windfalls and good fortune. Tomorrow, Mars is going to trine Neptune. Mars in Scorpio is trining Neptune in Pisces, and that can be very creative, intuitive opportunities that you can come up with, that you kind of just listen to your intuition. So it's a big time, and we're in the middle of it. January is going to be huge, both on the global front and in the individual front, because the Saturn and Pluto will be meeting up at the world axis, which is anything at 22 degrees of the cardinal signs, and they are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. In this case, they're meeting up in Capricorn, the sign of karma and accountability. So remember that in whatever you're doing, that you want to be just and fair in how you're handling things. You want to work hard, but you also want to set boundaries for your life to establish a healthy 2020. All right. So thank you, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.